Hello, it's me, Robin, with Simple Food, Simple Life. This morning, I'm going to get busy and I'm going to can some vegetable soup. Now, I've got all of the ingredients laid out. This is just vegetable soup. There's not going to be any meat or any type of meat-based broth or bouillon with this. I've got my ingredients laid out. I've got my bucket with my quart jars ready to be washed, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, just want to show you, I've got tomato juice, I've got some celery, I have an onion, I have 3 12-ounce bags of mixed vegetables that come from Aldi, and this is that bag of free slaw mix that I got at Fairway a week or so ago. I bought one and I got one free, so I'm going to use this one to put in the vegetable soup. So when I come back, I will show you what I have done. Okay, I put everything in this kettle, well, what I have in there so far, but I'm not going to cook this. I'm going to mix it up, pack it in the jars, and I will use my pressure canner today, and I will can the quarts of soup. So what I've done, I've chopped up the celery and the onion. I only had one onion. That's fine. I wish I had a little bit more, but I did not. So I'll scrape that out later. And I've got my 2 containers of tomato juice. One's in a bottle, one's in a can, but there's actually the same amount of tomato juice in here. If I had a vegetable broth made up, I would put that in, but I don't. And I also forgot I'm going to put a can of tomatoes in here. So I'll have to go down and get that, but that's fine. I forgot all about that. I have 1 can of fire roasted tomatoes downstairs, so I might just go ahead and use that. Now my vegetables, my mixed vegetables are still frozen, which that's fine, because these are going to be thawed out as it sits. I'm going to let it sit a little bit, give them a chance to thaw out before I pack the jars. Now, you can see I put the whole package of cabbage in there. I didn't do anything to it. I didn't chop it down. I didn't do anything to it at all. I just left it. And the cabbage does have carrots in it. Now, I will put a teaspoon of salt in each jar before the jars are canned. So, and I'm not putting any other spices in there unless I use that fire roasted tomatoes. I don't know, I haven't decided. I haven't put any other spices in there. I'm not going to. Now the reason is this. I am making these quarts of soup. I don't know how many quarts I'm going to get. I'm making this vegetable soup because this is actually a base. Some of you may recall recently I posted videos on canning, on the fact that I had canned some meat. I canned chicken, beef, and pork that I had in the bottom of my freezer. So what I like to do is I like to make up jars of this vegetable soup. When I want some soup, I can take out the jar, a jar or 2, however many, of my vegetable soup base. I add in a jar of meat. It can be chicken, pork, or beef. It doesn't matter. It depends on what I'm making. And or a jar or 2 of beans, because I have beans that I have canned. Or I can add pasta if I want to, pasta and beans, to this soup base. And I can add broth to it. I can do whatever I want. I can add a can of potatoes if I want to. This is just a base. And then I add whatever spices I like. I can add Italian spices. I can add chili spice. I can add any spice I want to this soup base along with the other ingredients. And I will end up with a beautiful pot of soup that is full of vegetables and goodies. So that's all this is. It is a soup base. Okay? All right. When I get the jars done, I will come back and I'll show you what that looks like. Okie doke. I forgot that I had some bags of tomatoes left in my freezer from my harvest from last year. So I'm going to, instead of opening a can, I'm going to add these to the soup. Okay, I got 6 quarts in my canner, and I'm very happy with that. Now that's 6 quarts of vegetable soup, vegan vegetable soup, if you want to call it that, out of those ingredients I showed you earlier. So I'm going to get this processed. It's going to take about 40 minutes in the pressure cooker to do this. And when they're done, I'll show you what we have. Here we are. We've got 6 quarts of vegetable soup. Now, my jars are a little cloudy because I forgot to put some vinegar in the water, but oh well, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Now, if you check back on some of my most recent videos, you'll see that I canned chicken, beef, pork. And all I have to do in the future is open a jar of this soup. I can add whatever spices I want to it. I can add a can of meat. I can add my home canned meat. I can add my home canned beans, home canned potatoes. I can add pasta to this if I want to. I can add any kind of broth that I want to add to it because this is very concentrated. And I will have a pot of soup in no time, simply by warming it up. I can add any spices I want to add to this soup because all that's in this soup is salt and vegetables. So I just wanted to demonstrate this to you. I wanted to show you what can be done. And this did not cost a lot of money. The vegetables, the mixed vegetables, were 87 cents for each package, so there were 3. I had some tomato juice. I had my home frozen tomatoes from last year. You saw what I put in it. It wasn't that much. But I'm very pleased with what I was able to get out of that, and it's going to give me many meals in the future. Okay, that's it for me today. I love you guys. You know I do. And as always, little is much when God is in it. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.